This is Steve. Yeah. Thank you. Hello, hello. It's great to be here. Third NearCon. Amazing. Really good to see everyone. And thank you for all the people who are working to put this together. It's an incredible amount of work going in to do this. So I want to welcome and thank everyone who has been involved in doing this. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get some energy. I mean, we just saw, a Web3 Steve Ballmer. All right, so I want to talk about the open web vision, the kind of near, and what is open web, right? I frequently get asked about what is the near's vision, right? Why are we doing this? And the core idea always been to bring the open web in a true form that we can imagine, to give everyone control of their data, assets, and power of governance. And to be clear, the open web is not a new concept. It's not a Web3 concept. It's existed before. The web started as open. It started as a way, of various protocols communicating to each other and everybody participating in it. But the kind of technology wave that's brought social media and search engines and kind of all of these companies, it leads to monopolization. It leads to centralizing control. It leads to taking the data that you put in and using it to kind of as a product and monetizing that product. It makes users to be consumers, as Chris mentioned in his previous talk. And so the innovation that blockchain brought, the new form of ownership, the way to not require any single party to be a representative of your ownership, but relying on the decentralized ledgers, on decentralized set of technologies, is what changing the wave, right? It's what bringing kind of back the original ideals of open web. It's also something that didn't exist before in the world, period. Even kind of from dawn of like the money, the kind of ownership of real estate, ownership of companies, everything was always defined by somebody else, right? There was somebody else who was ensuring and recording this, and you relied on that as a consumer or business. And now we have something that's different that allows to have kind of this common ownership, to have the participants themselves to ensure that the records are kept in a fair way. And that's what really kind of the vision we established. But this is not just a vision for near, this is a vision for the whole space. We are really trying to bring this vision forward and make it accessible and usable. But it's also important to understand that as individual user, as individual founder, you're not kind of choosing your apps because of this vision. You're not choosing day-to-day to use applications based on what values they provide. You choose them based on functionality, based on kind of what you can receive from them, and then you complain when they leak your data again. And so it's important to understand that the first and foremost, it's about showcasing what benefits and value that open web creates for developers, for founders, and for users. As a founder, you choose something that you can use to address a bigger market, to create a more liquid ecosystem for yourself, to have cheaper transaction fees, not just Web3 transaction fees, but broader as you're doing financial operations, to not pay a bunch of middlemen a high transaction fee. And so this, as well as when you're starting a new company, how can you bootstrap your user base? How can you connect to more people quicker? And that's what open web, that's what Web3 is all about. It's about actually providing new primitives as well as better economic opportunity and a way to build businesses differently in such a way that they're better businesses, that provide better kind of experience to the end user and in turn create bigger economy. And so we want to be the ecosystem that is the best place for founders to build. This is a place for you to come and actually leverage this technology, leverage the community, bring all this together, and really build successful open web companies which are truly better as a product for the user, which are truly easier for you to build, and which are, at the end, benefit and move us towards this open web vision instead of kind of going into a very dark mirror episode state. Now, the other important part to define is what is near ecosystem, because it all starts with technology. It all started with technology, but at the end, it's not just technology. Technology is a piece of it. It's a part that enables it. It's kind of the building block. But at the same time, it's about the public goods, the founders, the community here, the principles that we follow when we build this, right? In blockchain, the principle of immutability, the principle of kind of user having control over applications they use is something that we're instilling and showing why it's a better way to do things than kind of traditional way, right? The application that is immutable or is owned by the users of this application is better application you can rely on when you build your kind of layer on top, because it's not going to change under you. It's not going to go out of business. It's not going to disappear, right? There's examples in Web3 where a business that's built by few people in metaphorical garage are being used for billions of dollars of value, and multiple billion-dollar businesses are built on top of it, right? This is impossible to imagine in traditional web, where you will expect a kind of a thousands of people company to be able to do something like this and have enough reliability that they're not going to go out of business tomorrow. And that's kind of the principles that we want to instill to build this kind of applications in this new way. Now, important to mention is also the evolution of technology. The blockchain kind of introduced new primitives, but zero-knowledge technology is introducing something new as well. Blockchain meant we need hundreds of servers, thousands, tens of thousands of servers around the world that revalidate the same work, that have billions of dollars at stake for security to make sure that nobody is at foul play. Zero-knowledge brings something new where you can have one single server that runs compute and is, with this kind of proof, can ensure that the computation that was done is correct, that was not manipulated and cannot be changed later. And that is something that's introducing, again, new primitive. It's something where if before we were expecting blockchains to scale to millions of transactions, now we can have lots of sub kind of servers running specific applications and proving their kind of execution to everybody else without needing to actually synchronize the whole transaction on one blockchain. It is something new. There will be talks about this throughout this conference, but kind of principally speaking, what this means is that the blockchains themselves are becoming more and more similar to traditional infrastructure, where as a user, you don't actually care as much on which blockchain your application runs. Because if the security is unified, if everybody proves what they've done with a zero-knowledge proof, you don't need to kind of have expectation that it's on this blockchain, on that blockchain. And you can leverage kind of this unified security, liquidity, state across all of the blockchains that are supported in this way. And because of this, what becomes even more important is user experience. It's a way to interact with applications, is a way to engage users. And shortly after last NearCon, we started working on this. We realized that this is coming, and we realized that we need to give more instruments, more tools, as well as new concept to developers and founders to build in this new way where blockchains are becoming more unified. And that's when we introduced blockchain operating system kind of in February this year. And blockchain operating system is really a combination of layers, right? It's similar to other stacks, kind of if you're familiar with internet stack. It builds on top of each other, right? It starts with blockchain protocols. It goes into a data layer where all the data lives, and I'll talk about that. It goes into identity, which is extremely important. It's what we link the kind of security and ownership to. And it goes to applications, which are really driving the value and actually in front of the users. So through kind of this year, Near became the home for top consumer applications. It is because we have the easiest to use blockchain. It is because it scales, it works off the shelf, and the biggest applications in Web3, consumer applications in Web3, Sweatcoin and Kaiching have chosen to build on Near and leverage Near technology. This kind of is a proof point to the vision we're building. These users who are using Sweat and Kaiching, they don't use it because it's blockchain. They don't use it because it's open web. They use it because they get the value of it. They use it because, in case of Kaiching, they're able to kind of reduce their transaction costs from Web2, from Stripe, to 1/100th of what they pay there. It allows kind of to leverage Near's technology to really bring value to both their users, to have the economy around their own kind of user base, as well to themselves to kind of create, and capture portion of this economy and don't have to pay a ton of fees. And importantly, none of their users need to install extensions, figure out seed phrases, and kind of engage with standard crypto interactions. Smooth experience that everybody can use. And this is the products that are going to be driving the adoption in Web3 and bring people into open web. Another example, as we've been building out the blockchain operating system, is AdaptDApp. They're launching soon, and this is an example of kind of this multi-chain, chain abstraction idea that you can have one application that is open to all the users, and it has all the blockchains. The blockchains is just an infrastructure. It's not, you don't think of like, oh, is this Facebook page served from Google or Amazon or their own data center, or is this Netflix movie being right now streamed from this CDN or that CDN? And similar here, you can just use applications across all of the ecosystems, and you can access everything from one place. And the important part is every single piece of the application built here is built through decentralized frontends, through application frontends. This is where you can actually go and open the source code. You can inspect how they build. You can see how much usage they get. You can actually fork it and create your own application. This creates a new programmable environment for developers to build applications that span across blockchains, that abstract the blockchain details, and actually offer direct value to the user. And so I invite, for those who haven't seen it, near.org, you can explore applications, and you can always check out in developer tab how they built. Identity. We've invested a lot in how do we make not just cryptographic identity, the blockchain accounts. Near has pioneered account abstraction from the mainnet. And beyond that, how do we make it easy to onboard new users, right? The ask always been, we just want to log in users with email. And so we built something that is using your phone cryptography, allows to sign in through email, set up cryptography on your phone, have an email recovery through multi-party computations through kind of decentralized custody, and offer a smooth experience that users are familiar with. And it's actually faster than Web2 because you don't need to come up with a password or try to find where it is. It then allows you to use gasless transactions right away and pretty much onboards you into Web3 without needing to think about all the details that usually, as a Web3 person, you probably think about. It's like, where do I custody my keys? Where is seed phrase go? What is a 0x address? How do I pull it up? There's more coming on FastOS, but there's also talk in more detail on this. On the other side, we also realize it's important to have compliance. It's important to have identity verification. There's value in kind of having access to accounts that are kind of verified. And so we partnered with Fractal on IDOS, offering that as well as a primitive to all the blockchain operating system developers. Now, the next step of the FastOS is introducing something what we call account aggregation. Now that you have one account on Near that you signed up extremely easily, you can actually use this account similar to how would use Coinbase or Binance account on multiple chains. The way it's done is the Near validator set itself becomes a decentralized multi-party computation signer for transactions on other chains. But what it practically means for the user, you sign up once, and now you can use applications everywhere without needing to switch networks, without needing to use bridges and deposit funds. And so if you remember DApp, right now, you still need to switch network if you use application on a different chain, but with account aggregation, this will get all abstracted. This goes to the next step of the chain abstraction thesis, where users will know less and less about the blockchain applications it's running on, or it may be running on multiple, and more about the experience they're getting, the value they're getting from it. And so any Near account or smart contract will become enabled to this. It also means you can build multi-chain applications really easily on Near because they can just sign transactions on other chains. We've invested in data. Data layer is extremely important. Blockchain is not optimized for reads. It's not designed to be kind of a way to access it in various ways that developers really want. And so beyond RPCs and kind of indexing framework, we introduced Query API. It's a protocol to define how you want data to be indexed from the blockchain, and then anyone, in theory, will be able to run kind of nodes that follow this protocol and offer this data. And what this means is you can have custom complex queries aggregating data from the blockchain stored in kind of databases of the providers and access them. And this is extremely important if you want to have reactive applications, if you want to have something that shows you analytics over time, if you want to have something that is more complex than what transactions are on a blockchain. We also partnered with Urbit. Urbit is kind of a new also operating system for the new age, and it's a place to store personal data. It's ways to peer-to-peer interactions and groups. It's a place to also have our kind of blockchain operating system front ends, which are decentralized, being accessible across all of the servers they have. And finally, Calimero, for those who haven't tried it, the NearCon chat runs on Calimero, which is a private shard of kind of technology for Near, which allows to run the kind of applications that don't need or can store their data in a public chain, and also have faster performance, not pay for gas fees, etc. And so NearCon chat runs on that, kind of powered by this technology, while the front end is powered by the application stack. But it comes with unified identity, unified kind of application, such that as a user, you don't actually need to know that it runs on the different servers. For example, you have just an application, you log in with your kind of Near account, and you start using it. Finally, protocol, right? The blockchain, the kind of technology we started with. Near has been fast transaction execution. It's extremely cheap data availability. It's fast and kind of secure settlement. And so today, we want to announce Near data availability. This is something that leverages existing Near technology. The fact that Near is 8,000 times cheaper to store data than Ethereum. And we have a number of first users already signed up: Madara by Starknet, Fluent, Caldera, Movement Labs, Dimension, and Vistara, to start leveraging this kind of as they're launching their layer 2s. And again, within a bigger vision, All of these layer 2s now provide new functionality. They have their own focus. But for the user, you have this unified experience. You have this unified kind of abstracted access, and you can start kind of interacting with this and benefiting from the cheaper transaction fees that Near provides. Now, the other announcement we have today is partnership with Polygon on building ZK Wasm. Polygon has become a zero-knowledge experts. They have built an amazing piece of technology that provides kind of proven infrastructure, and they continue innovating on it. On our side, we have spent tremendous resources in building WebAssembly to allow developers to use common programming languages, Rust, JavaScript, C++, anything you can run, because WebAssembly is something that's available on every phone, on every laptop, on every device. WebAssembly is also used by lots and lots of companies and enterprises on edge computation. This partnership allows to bring these two parts together and introduce something that, as I said, is changing how the computation is done. Where before you needed lots of servers to replicate the compute, lots of servers to ensure that everyone follows the rules. Now you can just run it on edge, on your personal server, or on kind of a shared set of computers, and generate a proof that everybody can verify extremely cheaply for any amount of computation to kind of ensure that the computation is done. The WebAssembly we have built on Near is one of the easiest virtual machines for blockchain that exists. It's pretty much a very simple service-oriented with a database. And by doing this, this kind of opens up a new way, not just for blockchains, but also beyond to verify compute. For us, it allows to have kind of continuous scaling of the blockchain of Near. It allows to have proofs for each individual shard, which we can aggregate and not need to re-verify things. It will allow to have a lot more validators as well who just verifying the proofs instead of redoing all the computation. It also allows people in layer 2 space to launch their own WebAssembly zero-knowledge rollups. And importantly, we're coming closer and closer with the Ethereum ecosystem through these two parts and really kind of removing this current maximalism and really focusing on the value to the user. This chain abstraction idea is really about that although technology matters, although technology provides new primitives, the kind of this fight, sometimes in Web3 that happens is not productive. We expand and offer to Ethereum developers, to rollups, to everyone in Web3 different benefits at different levels of our stack. We're the home for best Web3 consumer experiences, onboarding millions of users who now have access to applications not just on Near, but on other blockchains through account abstraction. So if you take one thing away from all my talk, or from this conference for that matter, is that the Near is the entry point to the open web. It's for developers, for founders, and for users. It brings a value that we all aspire for, while also solving very immediate problems for everyone. Thank you.